So, I may or may not have kicked Cade out of his spot this Friday, but, you know, it's not like it's a trans topic or anything where he is probably the best person ever to speak about it. So it's totally fine that I took his Friday and now he has to take Saturday, right? Totally fine. Not fine at all. I'm sorry, Cade and baby beavers, but to apologize, I have situated myself so you could see a wrong area, so you could see a naked lady in the background. 'Cause I care. I care. So it's Trans Week here at the Beaver Bunch, which, as you know, is probably, most definitely, one of, like, my favorite topics ever to discuss. And I don't know what it is, but, like, me and trans peeps, like this, I tell you. And I don't know where it necessarily stems from, but, like, I don't know, I just feel like they're my people, even though I'm not trans, but I feel like they're my people, and I just connect, and I get it. Like, I just get it. I can't explain it. Like, I never once, to answer one of the baby beavers' questions, I never once thought I was trapped in the wrong body, or I never felt like my head didn't match my body. I always felt really confident and happy being a female, and I never really once thought like, maybe this wasn't me, or maybe this didn't feel right. You know, the heels always kind of felt right, and the long hair always felt right, and the shitload of makeup that I carry around with me always kind of felt right. So I never once thought, maybe I, you know, was born in the wrong body, but I mean, I don't know. I just feel like that could come to you at any age. Sure, I'm sure there are signs throughout life that maybe possibly you could be trans, but I think, you know, like figuring any other part of life out, like these are things sometimes that happen when you're 12, or happen when you're 5, or happen when you're 20, or 40, or 60. I don't think there's a time frame for that. And both of these baby beavers were questioning, you know, can I be thinking about this whole trans thing so late in life? And frankly, it's not so late in life at all. For example, I realized I liked women that way when I was 20, maybe 19, but like I'm pretty sure I think I was 20, and I'm only 28 now. So I mean, there were always signs like neon red flashing, you're a fucking idiot for not noticing signs. Like, you know, at 7 years old, I was like, ooh, pretty girl, can I touch her inappropriately? So not at 7, but you know what I mean. I probably should have like thought about it sooner, or it should have dawned on me sooner, but you know what? It didn't. I figured it out when I was 20. Point is, it's a process. It is a process from start to finish. And this process happens regardless of what you identify as or what your gender is. So if you're bi, trans, gay, lesbian, whatever the case may be, queer, genderqueer, regardless, it's a process. And everything that's a process doesn't necessarily happen overnight. So it's not like when you're 2, you're going to figure out that, oh my God, my body doesn't match inside. Like, what is outside and what is presenting is not who I am. And sometimes you could figure that earlier out in life, and then other times you don't figure that out until much later, or, you know, for instance, you're not even around it to know that it exists, or that's what you're feeling. Does that make sense? Because, like, for example, for a lot of the older generation that didn't necessarily know that something like that was out there, they could have been dealing with these feelings and having these feelings for years and not knowing what they were. So all of a sudden, when something is there that's like, oh my God, I think that's me. I think that's how I feel, and what is going on inside me, then things start clicking, and that's when like the process starts moving a little faster in a way. So for example, I've always been exceptionally femme, always, and you know, growing up and dealing with the feelings that I was dealing with, I didn't have a reference point to be like, well, girls with long hair and makeup and heels could like other girls. My reference point for a lesbian was stereotypical. It was like short hair, boy clothes, mullet, flannel, Home Depot card, you know? So I didn't know that I could look the way I look and feel the way I feel and be who I am, and all of that makes sense. So for me, part of the reason probably why I figured it out so late in life, and 20 isn't that late in life, but we have a lot of baby beavers that are 12 and, younger that realize that they're gay, and that's amazing because it took me until I was 20 to even figure out that I could look the way I look and like women, which is like insane. Like, you would never think that, but my point of reference for someone who was gay and a girl did not look like me and did not behave like I behave and did not act like I act. So I didn't even know it was an option for me. So when you're coming out as trans, maybe, possibly, it happens later in life because you don't even know it's an option, or you don't even know that that's what you're feeling, or that's what it's called, or that's what it is. So I think it is totally, totally possible to figure this out later in life. Like, again, and I've stated this before in so many videos, but there's no timeline for these sorts of things, folks. Like, no timeline whatsoever. So regardless of what you identify as, or regardless of who you are, or any part of you, like, regardless of that, it's no two people are going to have the same timeline and the same process and the same coming out story or anything. I mean, there are definitely overlaps. Like, we could feel for each other and we know what the other person is going through, but there is no right or wrong in how to do this, and there is definitely no timeline. So if you realize that, oh my God, I may be trans, at 24 or 44, it doesn't matter. It just doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong way to do this. I know Jess and I know Lori mentioned this, is that, make sure you have a solid support system. You're not always going to have your family necessarily, but make sure there's someone there that you could talk to. And whether that's a teacher or a counselor or a therapist or a friend, whatever the case may be, I think it's definitely important to have someone locally that you could reach out to and talk to whenever you need to. I think, anyone in the community should have someone like that. And I think it's important just not to overthink so many things and not to just be like, well, maybe I'm too old for this. Chances are you're not. And chances are your process may just be different than the 3 other trans people you know, or the 3 other gay people you know. Everyone goes through it differently. It's all ultimately, similar and very much overlapping, but it's our story and it's personal, and it's always going to be different from the person next to you. So, in summation, I think there's no age limit to coming out as gay, queer, trans, bi, genderqueer, whatever. There's no age limit. So if you're 5, more power to you. I did not know at 5. I was playing with my Barbies. So if you're 5, or if you're 25 or 55, sky's the limit. Be who you are and enjoy it. I will see you guys next week. Mwah. Bye.